So if you are always in a state of, I just want to do the things that I know are going to end suffering for me and for other people, that would be in a sort of constant state of Virya. Great, yeah. It's really nice to be here. So this is my first time teaching in Brixton. I usually teach over at the London Buddhist Centre in Bethnal Green. Yeah, very nice to be talking to you about Virya as well. Virya is, I think, a really, really crucial topic in the spiritual life. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, we'll see how much time we have. You can maybe just tell me to stop talking at some point. We'll see. I'll probably talk for about 12, 15 minutes or something like that. Yeah. And what I'll say is I'll define what Virya is. It's probably an alien word to many of you, so I'll explain what Virya is. I'll talk about what that looks like from the outside, what it looks like from the inside, and a little bit about how to, Virya in context of the other spiritual faculties, which is this theme, this series, the theme of this series. So Virya is a Sanskrit word, an ancient Indian word that's used a lot in the Buddhist tradition, and in a way a one-word definition of it would be energy, or vigour would be another one-word definition of it. But a better definition, which is a few more words, is energy in pursuit of the good. So I think that's Shantideva's definition, an old Buddhist master. And so energy in pursuit of the good, so it's a very, very important concept in Buddhism, because what Shantideva means by good there is the highest good. So the highest good being enlightenment, or even enlightenment for all beings. So I don't know about you, but I have a lot of energy for lots of different things, and not all of them are particularly good, to be honest. I've just been getting back into skating. I was just talking to Jack about this just now, and when I was talking about it, I was like, oh, yeah, I've got a lot of energy for skating at the moment. That's not particularly a bad thing to have energy for, although, I mean, my knee would disagree at the moment, but it's not enlightenment. But the thing I've been noticing with just kind of getting back into skating is that I really want to do it, and so I've been trying to sort of like motivate myself to exercise more for years, and there's been a real sort of like, it's been the opposite sort of situation where I've been like, I sort of want to do it, but I don't want to do it. I sort of have this feeling of like, oh, I should probably exercise now, and it never really happens. So there just isn't energy there. But with skating, it's like, oh, I want to do it, and then I do it, and I can feel like it's almost like, I don't need to force my body to do it. So if you can imagine that sensation of, I'm sure you've all got things like that where there are just things that you just want to do, and before you even make yourself do those things, before you even have to sit there and go, okay, I should probably do this now, you just find yourself doing it. If you imagine that state, but doing that with things that are in pursuit of the highest good, so that being, from a Buddhist perspective, ending suffering for yourself and other people. So if you are always in a state of, I just want to do the things that I know are going to end suffering for me and for other people, that would be in a sort of constant state of Virya. And being enlightened, you would be in a constant state of Virya. Yeah? So in a way, I've started to touch already on a little bit of what it looks like from the outside. You'd be doing things that are always in pursuit of of enlightenment for other people, always in pursuit of ending suffering for other people and yourself. Yeah, I was thinking about what this looks like from the outside, and I imagine probably maybe quite a few of you know Virya, who's the chair of the Brixton Community. Yes, a few nods. Yeah, so very similar name to my name, Suryanaga. You've kind of got the wrong Naga here tonight. So Suryanaga was very aptly named because he has a lot of Virya. Some of you who know him will know that he's always, from what I know of him as well, I know him a bit. He's always doing, trying to create more opportunities for the Dharma, for Buddhism, and I think he's done a lot of things, great things with the Brixton Buddhist Community. From his kind of capacity or faculty for Virya. I know that Amarapuspa has a real faculty or capacity for Virya as well. I know that you do like multiple study groups and multiple classes and things like that. So you're actually we're very lucky in Brixton to be among people who can show us what Virya looks like from the outside. But in a way, you could look for that. You could look for what that looks like from the outside. You could look for people who are being really busy, filling up their life with lots of kind of goodly Buddhist activities, and that wouldn't be guaranteed that that's actually Virya, because a very, very important aspect of action in Buddhism, ethics in Buddhism, mental states in Buddhism, is intention. Yeah, so this is what it looks like from the inside. So you could be filling your life with lots of busy activity that might look really, really good, might even look really good from a sort of worldly perspective, as in lots of people tell you, oh, that's so great that you're doing all of these good things all the time. But you might have sort of intentions, in fact, pretty much until you're enlightened, you will have intentions that are mixed. Yeah? So everybody who's not enlightened, not completely and fully perfectly enlightened, will have mixed intentions about why they're doing something, mixed kind of motivations. Because they haven't fully, someone who's not enlightened, can tell you, somebody who's not fully enlightened will have mixed motivations about why they're doing something, because the ego's not fully been seen through. So there's some aspect of, in a way, selfish desire, some aspect of like, actually I just want you all to like love me and think that I'm like saying really good things. But then there's also a kind of there can also be other motivations that are more pure at the same time. Yeah. So that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that it's not anything to kind of feel bad about. It's a bit like, you know, when you get distracted in meditation, it's not like you have to beat yourself up about it and think that you can't meditate. You just have to kind of acknowledge, like, we just have to acknowledge, oh yeah, that's the state of being unenlightened. That's kind of how minds work. That's how my mind works. I have mixed motivations. Some of them are pure, and some of them are impure. Or another way of thinking about it is some of them are skillful and some of them are unskillful. So this idea that ethics, or kind of pure mental states, pure actions, are a skill that you can build. So when we're thinking of Virya, and when we're thinking of how we can cultivate Virya, because just like any positive mental state, positive faculty in Buddhism, we're not just talking about something that the Buddha had and then going, that's great that the Buddha had it. We're talking about something that we can cultivate. Yeah, it's a really, really crucial aspect of anything in Buddhism is that we're talking about something that we can cultivate. So with Virya, we need to look at how we can cultivate that. And I think the way that we do that is by really, really refining our intentions, really kind of refining our energies. I came across this little snippet by Bhante Sangharakshita, the founder of our order, where he was saying that there is where there is energy, there is a possibility of refining energy. The real problem is where there is no energy at all. Yeah, so if you've got energy for something, if you've got the motivation to do something that in a way is objectively good, that's a really, really good place to start. If you've got the motivation to come here and learn to meditate and practice with the Brixton Buddhist Community, that's a really, really good place to start. Doesn't matter too much that your motivations might be mixed about that. Doesn't matter too much that maybe your motivations are just to make yourself happy right now, or even, I don't know, your motivations are like coming here and seeing if you can find a date or something like that. It doesn't matter too much if your motivations are mixed, because you can refine that over time to something that is more pure and more altruistic. So I'll say something more about that in a moment, but I'll say something about the 4 types of right effort. So some of you will probably know the Buddha's Eightfold Path. It's quite a sort of core foundational Buddhist teaching, and one of the limbs of the Eightfold Path is right effort or perfect effort, and there are 4 types of right effort. Does anyone know what these 4 are? I'll tell you the first one and see if you can guess the others. Yeah. So so those are some of the other limbs on the Eightfold Path. Yeah. So the first type of right effort is the prevention of unskillful mental states. Yeah. Prevention of unskillful mental states. Can anyone guess what any of the other 3 are based on that?
Cultivation of skillful.
Yep, cultivation of skillful states. Yep, exactly right. There's 2 more.
Is there something about like what you're saying and not saying bad things, basically?
That's one of the other limbs as well of the Eightfold Path. Yeah. Actually, I've just realised I haven't given you enough of a clue in the first one that I said. So there is prevention of. This is going to be a really big clue now. I've corrected myself. Prevention of negative mental states that haven't already arisen. And then one that you said is cultivation of positive states or skillful states, which you could also say that haven't already arisen. So you're cultivating mental states that haven't arisen. So then there's has already arisen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so when negative mental states have arisen, we then have to expel them. We have to somehow stop them. Yeah, exterminate them. Can't remember what the word that sounds less like TARDIS is. Renunciation. Yeah, in a way, yeah. You renounce unskillful mental states, and you sort of let them go. And then the other one is when positive mental states have already arisen, you want to sustain them. In a way, that just sounds like a sort of rather technical list, but it's important to think about the fact that all of those things are things that don't just happen. So mental states don't just kind of arise out of nowhere, and they don't just fade out of nowhere when they've already arisen. We can make effort to cultivate them or sustain them or exterminate them, or whatever the other one was. So, and that's kind of what Virya looks like on the inside, I think. So it can feel like just wanting to do something in a way, but there is effort involved in cultivating that. Or in a way, that's what cultivating Virya looks like from the inside. It's working with our mental states, or playing with our mental states, to make sure that skillful, positive mental states arise and are sustained, and negative mental states are exterminated and prevented. Yeah. So there's all sorts of ways that we can kind of work out how to do that. Maybe we'll get into that a bit more in the discussion. But I'll just finish on a sort of quick point as well about the 5 faculties. So last week, this class was based on the idea of Shraddha, or faith, or confidence. And the way I think that's one of the biggest precursors to Virya is faith or confidence. Because the more that one has an understanding, an emotional understanding, an emotional sort of confidence, belief in a way of what enlightenment is, what the goal is, what Nirvana is, the more one will just naturally want to move towards that anyway. Because it sounds great, right? Like the end of suffering. Like as soon as you sort of think, oh yeah, that's possible, and that there's a way to do it, for me that makes me just go, right, I want to do it. I want to do the things that will end suffering. So that feeling, as soon as you sort of have, it arises, I think, instantly with Shraddha. And then from there, we can then start cultivating the other 3 faculties that will be covered over the next 3 weeks, as well as mindfulness, absorption in meditation, and wisdom. Good. Okay. So that's a few things about Virya. And then we're going to talk about some of those things, I think, now.
Thanks, Suryanaga. It's such a fascinating area, energy, and it's just so important in the Buddhist tradition. I've always loved it ever since I came across it, and I really like the way you brought out about the approach of refining our energy through Buddhist practice, and that's kind of what we do with meditation. That's, they kind of go hand in hand. And I was thinking about this very famous story of the Buddha with, he had a monk named Sona, who, you were talking about motivation and intention. And this monk was really, really, like what you said, he was really, enlightenment, great, I'm really going to go for it. And, he just started doing walking meditation really, really earnestly, but to the point where he was cutting up his feet and he just felt like he was getting nowhere. And the Buddha talked about what you were talking about, is that this balanced energy is kind of an art, refining the energy. It's very much a part of our practice. And he even used this monk was a musician, so he used this image of a musical instrument. And that, if you use too much effort, it's jarring, and not enough, the strings are slack. And, how do we make music as Buddhists? I mean, how do you find that? How do you do that in your life? What do you find in your practice that helps you balance your energy?
I think partly doing a mix of things. So, I mentioned about the skating. Like that's something that I've been like, oh yeah, I can. I think for a while I've been so in one direction with my spiritual life. And my life in general has been kind of very much, like, okay, I'm going to really do this Buddhism thing. just kind of doing stuff all the time that's kind of concerned with that, and that have orientated my life more and more around it. And I think that does get to a certain point where one can feel like, you know, if you're working for a Buddhist organisation and you're living in a Buddhist community and you're like, you know, if you,
which you are,
then there can get to a point where actually I'd like to do something that's not useful right now,
like skating.
Bhante talks about the greater mandala of uselessness as well. So having something useless in your life that is just something that you like doing, that isn't actively going against your practice in any way, isn't kind of unethical in any way, but is just kind of getting your energy going. That's one way I've found. But I guess there's also the idea of kind of balancing out the faculties as well. Yeah,
I mean, what you just said made me think of the quality of playfulness.
Yes,
which I also love about Buddhism. You know, this quality of lightness. That try to cultivate. I was just thinking of the Dalai Lama and what a joyful, you know, this just very joyful energy he has. Or Buddhists I've seen who practice many years. It's not like big, serious, ponderous. There's a certain lightness and joy that I think comes from that balance and bringing in a sense of play and not getting too narrow and focused. But it just takes time and practice. You can't we can't force it, can we?
Exactly. And I think that is really relevant. That idea of playfulness is really relevant to Virya, because I was thinking about playfulness recently, and I was thinking, why is play different to work? Because in a way, like both of them, intention is there for both of them, right? For play and work. You're both in both things. You're trying to do something, and you have an idea of what you're trying to do, and that can either happen or not happen. And I thought, it's something to do with how attached we are to the outcome. That's, I think, the difference. Like when I'm working on something, if it goes wrong and it doesn't happen, it's like disaster, and I get annoyed and all the rest of it. But like with skating, I can fall over and hurt myself, and I might get momentarily annoyed, but it's kind of, laugh it off pretty quickly because I'm not so attached to it.
You kind of gets you away from yourself and the outcome.
And that's even really important when we're thinking about trying to move towards enlightenment. If we get really attached to that outcome, then I think we do get annoyed and burnt out and all the rest of it.
That's right. I just feel like it's one of the most important aspects of my practice is how do I stay resourced. When I get, do a lot of classes and put a lot of effort in, and when I get tight around it, I just think, how do I serve the situation? It's not about me. It's about something much bigger than me. And then I just just do my best, to do. But there are just so many aspects where this quality of energy applies. But I think for lots of people starting on a Buddhist path, you experience it a lot in meditation, don't you? Where you're seizing up because you're making too much effort, or drifting off because it's slack. And it just seems to me it's like the laboratory of how we work with our energies, and it spills over then into our life. That's why I think meditation is so important in Buddhism.
Definitely, and I think it's one of the reasons why this teaching of the Five Faculties is so good and so important, because we'll all have sort of natural proclivities towards one of them. So some of us will be more kind of naturally Virya kind of types in a way. And we'll just have lots of energy very quickly, whereas some of us will be more faith types and just want to be really devotional to the Buddha, and some of us will be wisdom types and want to kind of get really intellectual about what the Dharma's saying. And,
but they all need balancing out, you
exactly,
know, because
yeah.
if you're a Virya type, your energy can get, you know, just out of balance quite easily. Yeah. But anyway, energy-wise, I'm noticing time is also a precious resource.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll end that here, and we'll just talk, you know, discuss it with the rest of the class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Suryanaga.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Great. So I hope you enjoyed that Dharma talk. So if you did enjoy it, if you're enjoying our videos, I just want to ask you or encourage you to think about making a donation to the Brixton Buddhist Community. We're a UK charity that relies completely on your donations to run everything here. And if this was a class, a meditation class, there'd be a donation bowl that you could just put in £10 at the end of the night to help support the activities. But as you're watching this online, I just want to ask you to think about making an online donation. If you've watched 4 or 5 videos this month, maybe you might want to think about giving £10. So there's a link in the description below where you can go to our website and make a donation. And if you want to keep giving, you don't want to worry about making that donation every month, well, you could just set up a standing order, a monthly standing order. That would be really, really helpful. I want to suggest something of the region of maybe £10 or £20 a month if you're able to do that, and that would be really, really helpful and help us keep producing videos like this one. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself.